welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Excuse me, Sarah.
And we are two Americans living in Sweden. Talking about
playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
Yeah, man. The playoffs almost over, man.
I know. Speaking of that Jim Mora clip, they ran that. We were watching the Eagles Commanders game, me and the family, and they did that commercial with Jim Mora and what's his name? Who's the comedian?
Kevin Hart.
Yeah. It's that commercial with Kevin Hart and Jim Mora, and he's doing the whole playoff thing. And Saga was like, "Who the hell is that guy?" And I was like, "Oh my god." Pause everything, and like we went down the YouTube rabbit hole, and I showed her all the totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Couldn't do diddly.
I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. We couldn't stop the run. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We got our ass kicked.
Her first reaction was like, after like, "Oh my god, that's brilliant." She was like, "How come coaches don't talk like that anymore?"
Great question. See, great question.
I was like, "There's too much fucking media now. You do something like that today."
Yeah, it's like Howard Dean when he did that. And it was like, how could this man do this? And now they're just, predators and shit are running the country.
Yeah, it's Howard Dean's fault. Let's blame Howard Dean.
It's crazy that was the line. The line was fucking screaming in joy back then, and now you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
crazy.
That is fascinating, actually. I mean, what do you say? We just jump in here with Eagles Commanders. I just have to say, this is not like a super important thing, but I just want to point it out because it got me excited. On the very first snap of the game, we saw a full dog trifecta. Okay. This is the Commanders. Jaden Daniels drops back to pass. He tries to escape the pocket, but Jalen Carter gets a piece of him to slow him down. And then he gets crunched between Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis. I'm like, holy shit. There is so much dog in this game. I am ready for this. Let's fucking go.
I'm putting it real low.
And then the only thing better than the Eagles' first defensive snap was their first offensive snap, which was the pitch to Saquon. He reaches the second level, breaks a couple of tackles. Really should have been tackled, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just terrible tackling on their part. But Saquon takes it 60 yards to the house. You're just like, holy shit, what is happening?
It's terrifying if you bet that he would be under 125 yards. Just saying.
It is a little terrifying, but we were correct about that.
Yes, we were correct about that.
But then even crazier, the Commanders fumble on their next drive, and before you know it, Saquon has a second touchdown in the game. He's only had 2 carries so far. It's like, what?
2 carries, like fuck? 70 yards. It's like, what's going on, man?
But they kept reminding us, like, oh, don't count out the Commanders, and to be fair, they did. They went through a period there where they at least looked like they came to play.
Yeah.
The next drive, they got, another field goal thanks to a fake punt that extended the drive. And then on the next drive, Terry McLaurin had that brilliant catch and run for a 36-yard touchdown. Obviously, they missed a 2-point conversion to tie it up. But at that moment,
they were chasing that, man. It was like,
yeah, at that point, you kind of felt like Washington had some juice, right?
Yeah.
But the Eagles scored another touchdown right before the half, and then the Commanders fumbled again on the kickoff with a minute and change on the clock. A few plays later, Jalen Hurts finds A.J. Brown for 6, and the Eagles took a 27-15 lead into the halftime locker room. I mean, just an absolute nightmare final 2 minutes for the Commanders. Unfortunately for the Commanders, Jalen Hurts, probably by and large, if you take it from start to finish, probably played his best game of the year so far.
I was thinking that.
He made all the right decisions at nearly every turn. He got sacked a couple of times, but when there was pressure,
he was. Know what? No, he looked bad at the beginning of the game.
He did. He looked a little shaky at the beginning of the game.
He was like, you see, the crowd was like uncomfortable with him. I thought they were going to start booing him for a bit.
Sure. But as the game started to heat up, like the thing that I was most impressed by, because he got sacked a lot the week before. I think he got sacked like 7 times.
He was holding on to the ball a lot at first this game.
He was doing that here too, but then it was like he self-corrected, and there probably some of the smartest plays that he made in the game were plays where he escaped pressure and just threw the ball away. That's just some fucking grown-up football is what that is.
Yeah. I didn't think he was. I thought it was going to be a different Hurts at the beginning of the game, and then you're right. He did self-correct. He threw that honeypot throw to Brown, and it was like, okay. But one time he didn't pull the trigger on it. They probably got in his ass about that, because there was one where he had him. You could see him looking, and he just didn't pull the trigger, and it was like Tom Brady was pissed off about it. He was like, you got to pull the trigger on that.
Tom Brady's terrible at his job, by the way.
Did you hear him say back in his day, you know, when people don't call, they didn't make calls like they. Sometimes I'm just like, let them play, motherfucker. You were the biggest crier to the referees. Man, I was getting mad at some of the stuff he's saying, man. I really hate to pile on, because this is obviously a very trendy narrative that Brady is terrible at being an announcer, and I'm coming at it pretty late, because you know me, I normally watch Red Zone. But in these last couple of weeks, watching the playoffs where you actually have a chance to actually hear the call, I finally, instead of listening to how everyone says how terrible he is, I'm actually hearing it for myself. And I'm just like, yeah, he is. He's terrible. Yeah, man.
Jaden Daniels had some moments. He made this an 11-point game with a lovely rushing touchdown where he was like juking and jiving and putting dudes on skates. But Commanders' third lost fumble of the game by way of Austin Eckler leads to yet another tush-push touchdown after what felt like the longest second down in the history of humanity. Like, how many times did they have to redo that play because Frankie Louvu kept doing a Superman impression, like diving over? And I've actually never heard that before, so he jumps the line twice, and then they go off sides again, and then the ref says, the Commanders have been informed that if they do this again, the touchdown will be I have actually never heard that before, ever. Yeah. That was fascinating.
On Madden, you get kicked off the game.
Well, there you go.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Yeah.
I mean, before it was all over, you know, Saquon gets his third touchdown. Hurts also had 3 touchdowns. It's a complete ass whooping. And I was left at the end of it going, you know, well, I guess so much for the Eagles offense being broken, I guess.
Yeah. Or the Commanders defense got exposed that we thought was going to, you know.
Totally. And turnovers are everything. You mentioned it a minute ago. You had 14 points conceded from those 2 first half turnovers, and the Commanders were essentially chasing the game all night long. You know, it's a magical season for them in many respects, but in a conference championship game, you know, where it's all on the line, you got all those dogs on defense. You just cannot afford to turn the ball over. And when I say dogs, I don't just mean Georgia Bulldogs. I mean the rest of those fucking dogs too, man. Like, you know, Slay had a fucking game.
Yeah. He gave up that touchdown before and ran away from him.
Cooper DeJean, that guy fucking hits. So that guy hits like a fistful of. He hits like a fistful of dynamite if I've ever seen one. Yeah, they got dudes on that defense.
They got dudes.
I felt bad for Lions and the Lions fans who probably sat home watching, knowing that they probably, you know, would have at the very least been a more interesting opponent versus the Eagles. You know, but sadly, you know, we say this all the time, that ain't how football works. You got to win when it matters the most. And
you play to win the game.
Yep. Both the Commanders and the Eagles failed when they had their chance.
In an ideal world, you don't want a loss. You want to win. But if you can't get the win, and sometimes you settle for the tie. A lot of football left to go in the season.
That's not necessarily true.
No, but I'm sure that the Eagles on their way to scoring 55 points probably had the spirit of Lovie Smith inside of them. Like that's why they ran the wall that they ran through was essentially, they were riding on the sails of that Lovie Smith, that passionate Lovie Smith speech.
Got everybody going. They said they said the team tore their locker room up, man, in excitement. Ah, yeah, coach, go for the tie.
I heard the fans of Philadelphia tore the city up last night too.
Oh Lord!
Again, another one of those stories of. They always do they put grease on the light poles so people can't climb them, and I'm like, okay, well, how come everybody is still able to climb them? What's going on? Are you sure? I actually think they're lying. I don't think they put grease on the light poles.
Yeah.
I think they put stickum so that it would help them to climb those light poles.
They should keep it. They should put Gorilla Glue. So you climb up there. He's stuck up there.
Here's some Gorilla Glue and here's a ladder.
Good luck.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what do you got to say about these Eagles? I mean, they obviously, of the two teams that were left, they were the one that was the most deserving to go to the Super Bowl, 100%. Mm-hmm. We said it all along. The Commanders were playing with house money.
Yeah.
There's no real gut punch for them necessarily. The future is bright.
Yeah. You got your guy. Even in this game, he didn't look rattled. So cool as a fan. He's like the Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
So keep at it, man. Cliff didn't really fall all the way off a cliff.
No.
They had the little dip, and then they pulled it together. So kudos.
There are some rumors that Cliff Kingsbury might be
for the Saints.
Well, we'll see. There were rumors that he wanted that Cowboys job, but that obviously isn't going to happen.
Yeah, they got their OC.
We'll see. I think Cliff comes back. Why wouldn't he? You know what I mean?
If I were him, just run it back. Do like Ben Johnson. Stay there until you put it all in.
Focus on that defense. Dan Quinn needs to focus on continuing to build the Commanders' defense, because if they can keep the offense doing what they're doing and they can build a defense that looks a little more like the Chiefs' defense, now you have a very dangerous football team on your hands.
They put up the stat yesterday. We'll talk about this game soon, but Spagnuolo, he's the only coordinator to win 4 Super Bowls.
He's such a badass.
Yeah, man.
I mean, let's talk about it now.
Yeah.
Chiefs win 32-29. I mean, big picture, the Bills had the Chiefs right where they wanted them. 3:33 to play, the ball in their hands, down by only 3. All they needed was one final drive where they could milk the clock, score a touchdown, and make sure that Mahomes never touched the ball again. But alas, they failed again.
Yeah.
A failed 4th down conversion, and yet another tough moment for a tight end. This time, Dalton Kincaid drops a very catchable ball. It's not on him. It's a shit throw because he's under pressure. The ball. I'm not saying it's his fault. It's not the same as, but it's same church, different pew. Chiefs take over, get a couple of first downs, run out the clock. That's how it ended. But of course, there's a lot more to discuss about this game. What you watched it live? I did not. What were your thoughts?
It just felt inevitable, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how inevitable it felt. They had I saw at least 3 times they did the sideline shot of Josh Allen on the bench looking helpless. Like every time it felt like the last score, but then they get another shot, and they get another shot, and then, you know what I mean? And they started chasing a 2-point conversion that they missed, and it seemed like the same thing.
I feel like Josh Allen should get that book that A.J. Brown reads on the sidelines just so that he can avoid that shot that you're talking about. Because they're looking for it. The broadcast is looking for that shot. So don't give it to him anymore. Give him something else.
And then they just have to cut to Taylor Swift instead. They did the Taylor Swift cut to multiple times as well, but it just felt like they were playing above their pay grade. Like they were like that score by Cook, James Cook, the score, it was amazing. And that was on 4th down. Everything took them going the extra mile too, man. They converting 4th down, but then they kept trying to. Their tush push wasn't really working. You never seen it get stuffed like that. And then he fumbled it one time on one. Allen fumbled the ball a couple times in the game, but he recovered them all. But it just got it was hard to watch as somebody a neutral. I was a neutral fan, but of course I don't like Buffalo. But I'm sitting there with people that are they're rooting for Buffalo, so like the whole room starts kind of, hoping they could pull this thing out, and just couldn't. Man, it was frustrating to see for a fan base that deserves it, even though I hate the team.
There is this unfortunate sense of futile inevitability.
Yeah.
As you said, I mean, the Bills played their asses off.
Yeah.
Josh Allen puts on the cape, willing to do anything. Mac Hollins making plays. My man, former Bulldog James Cook, 85 yards rushing, 50 receiving, 2 touchdowns. The one that you mentioned, him diving, highly contested diving touchdown was like, I mean,
he left it all out there.
Put it in a frame, hang it in the Louvre. I mean, it was just absolutely gorgeous, that play. Yeah. The defense had some great moments. I mean, the Bills are right there, blow for blow with the Chiefs, but in the clutch. If I can knock the Bills for anything, it's that in those gotta-have-it moments, they do seem to lose their balance of attack as everything has to run through Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yep. I said it too.
It's as if as the clock ticks away, they start to panic a little bit. The tunnel vision sets in. Mm-hmm. They put too much on Allen's plate, and suddenly all those laminated play sheets, they might as well be Waffle House menus because they've just lost all sense of creativity at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could even see it at the beginning of the game too. You could see like elements of that DNA of like what they were trying to do in the very beginning of the game on the first drive, where Allen was nearly picked off on back-to-back plays, an opening drive where they didn't even try to run the ball. They tried to throw an opening haymaker. They missed, and then they had to sit there and watch as the Chiefs went 90 yards on 90 plays to score a touchdown. To me, those 2 first drives...
On 9 plays.
On 9 plays. Those 2 first drives...
90 plays is wild.
Yeah. Those first 2 drives told me everything...
Yep.
that I needed to know about this game. Like everything played out the way, essentially the way those 2 drives did.
And it could have been worse, but they actually pulled off that score at the end of the half because that 3 and out hurt because Kansas City came down and scored, and then they're kind of like falling behind a bit. So that was a huge play at the end for Hollins to get that big touchdown.
Totally.
And that kept it closer because the Chiefs came out second half blazing too.
And as far as the Chiefs are concerned, like what more can you say other than the fact that Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo are just like in a totally different class than all of the other coaches in the NFL, in my opinion. I know that people want to talk about how everything is rigged, and sure, we can talk about that too, but you cannot sit here and tell me that those 2 dudes are not worthy of competing for a Super Bowl after what they accomplished, not just in this game, but like the entire year, all the injuries, all the close games, all they do is win.
No matter what.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The defense played their ass off.
Every time they step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there.
Worthy's a great example of a dude who didn't look very special at the beginning of the year, but plays a huge part in this game with 85 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
Kelsey gets smothered. So what do? Oh, let's just take recycled Pittsburgh Steeler trash, Juju Smith-Schuster, and see if we can get him to do something. Yep. Oh, and then we'll take we'll take Ravens recycled shit, and we'll fucking turn Hollywood Brown into a significant human football player.
Watch DeAndre Hopkins go off in the Super Bowl.
They ripped Kareem Hunt off the couch when Pacheco got hurt this year.
Yep.
And he's been huge for this team. He was so good in this game.
Yep.
And then finally, you have the cherry on top, Patrick Mahomes beating Josh Allen by playing more like Josh Allen.
Yep.
Right? He's got his customary 18 for 26, 245 yards passing, but then you throw in the 43 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and you have this team that we keep saying it. They have this winning gene. They're just so hard to beat. They don't get rattled. You felt like the Bills. There were moments where the Bills stepped up and balled out, but there were also moments where you could tell they were rattled.
Yep, so true, man. I was just like, the moment felt too big for them sometimes, or too small for Kansas City. It's almost like they're a nuisance, and you could tell at the end of the game where their acceptance speech of the championship sounds like an apology.
I didn't see that part yet. That's funny.
Well, if you go back and watch the things they're saying, it's just like, I'm sorry, Buffalo. Y'all are a really good team. You're a really good team. But you're not us. It's like, that was the way I'm so sorry. I mean, they were great. Let's not forget about those guys on the other side. Played their hearts out. Great team over there. And let's not forget them. It was like, that's how they were talking.
That's so funny.
Damn. Yeah.
The thing about this winning gene that I find so fascinating, you can't measure it. You can't take a picture of it. It's just there until it's not, right? This is what happens with dynasties. You rarely see them coming, and most analysts are terrible at predicting when they're going to end. It's this like mythical, unknowable force in the universe that does not follow the rules of human logic. It simply exists until, for unknown reasons, it suddenly does not. It's like a dark magic, and it's impossible to explain. I don't know. I kind of like things that I can't understand.
I'm not mad at it. It's easier. It's an easier pill to swallow when they're beating Buffalo.
Sure.
So I'm not mad at it.
For me, it's also easier when it's a team that we talked about this off mic a little bit. Like I understand, hating the Patriots dynasty was easy to understand. There were so many like weird off-field issues with them.
Yeah.
I don't really see
being
that.
Not likable and all of that shit, smug.
Yeah, I don't really see that with the Chiefs. I mean, it's not like they've obviously had some off-field issues. Don't get me wrong. Most of them are personal. I don't know of any that are. I don't know of any that are truly football related necessarily. So I don't know. I personally would rather see different teams in the Super Bowl, but I'm not angry about who made it to the Super Bowl. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not mad at them for being there. It's a small, and I like when a small market team is dominant like that. Like when Green Bay is always good back in the day. You know what I mean? These small market teams, it's not New York and LA doing it. That's the best thing about the NFL.
Yeah, and also like I think it's so once a team becomes a dynasty, I think it's very easy to forget where they came from and like how bad they once were. Prior to winning that. Prior to all of this success that they're having now, I mean, what had it been like 50 years since they had won a Super Bowl or something?
Yeah,
it was something crazy like that. Yeah. They won like Super Bowl 3 and they hadn't won one since. So it's like, how are you supposed to be that pissed off at them? Like, just let them have their run. I went through this with the Georgia Bulldogs. I went, almost my entire life waiting for them to win a national championship again. My father wanted to see his Bulldogs win another national championship. And I was fortunate enough to live through the back-to-back years, and he was not. And that's just like, that's the way it goes,
Yeah.
I've always been struck by that guy. I don't care about baseball, but I love that clip of the guy who, when the Cubs finally won the World Series, and the guy went to his dad's grave with the radio to listen. I was just like, man, that's fucking beautiful. Like, just everybody kind of just needs to stop, take a breath, put it in perspective, and just relax. And
let them have the time. That they put together a great combination of coach and quarterback, and it's their moment now. Let them enjoy it.
It'll pass. It will pass. I promise. But there you have it. We have our Super Bowl matchup: the Eagles versus Chiefs. It'll be a rematch from 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
I don't know. I certainly like the Eagles' chances better this time around.
They got best roster in football.
Certainly.
It comes down to.
I mean, it could be this could be one hell of a defensive battle. Spagnuolo versus Fangio.
Both with 2 weeks to prepare.
Oh my Lord.
Andy Reid don't lose all bye weeks. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
It was a fun weekend of football, man. I'm glad I got to be here and watch it too. Oh, also, cool. I found a sports bar here. Not sports bar, but I found a restaurant here that is amazing.
Okay.
They have it's a converted firehouse.
Ooh, I love it already.
Yeah, and then you come in and there's a giant, like a life size or actual size stoplight that's just there, just flashing when you come in, and they have a bunch of sayings on the wall. There was one that said like, it's I forget, working out makes you look better, but so does tequila. They have big sayings on this like theater marquee that they change up, and then they don't call names like for your order. They give you a celebrity name. They give it to you. That's your group now. So, and then the whole time you're there, you're hearing like Barbara Walters, your fries are ready. You know,
that's hilarious. That's a great idea.
It's so cool. We were Prince and Lady Gaga, I think it was. I forget, but we had these
that's
like
really funny.
carts, and they call you up and you go pick up your stuff, and they have like a bar. And my brother had I forget, like some a Bailey's milkshake with his burger.
Oh shit!
Yeah. His burger was a Wagyu hamburger. Yeah, man. It was a dope spot, man.
Damn.
So next time I'm in Texas, I'm coming right over here to this spot over here.
They know how to do it.
Yeah, man. All the little stuff, man. Just getting like talking to the people in the restaurant, and everybody's just friendly and cool. I have me a root beer float. Haven't had that in years. It was dope. And they were like, if you order a burger here, we're going to make it the way it's supposed to be made. And then that tell me how to, it's like, you're going to get a medium well burger. That's what they said and then my brother ordered the Wagyu one. They're like, that's served medium rare because that's the way that burger needs to be made. It's like, you got no choice. We're not fucking up a burger because you're a weirdo. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Did you want to do any superlatives? I didn't have anything.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, dude, okay.
I got Saquon as my MVP.
I thought you'd say that.
And not just because of the 188 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
Yes, that was impressive. Mm-hmm. But he did a bunch of shit in this game.
Yes.
That does not show up in the stat sheets, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Whether it was like pass blocking protection, or one of the best was like he made this sick block that made it possible for Jalen Hurts to scramble into the end zone for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Saquon does everything you could possibly ask for from a running back. More importantly, this was my favorite part.
I know what you're gonna say.
I loved his whole vibe early in this game. Mm-hmm. His reaction after scoring that 60-yard touchdown on the first snap of the game. Celebration was something you do not see every day in the NFL. Yes, he was slapping hands, hugging his guys, but he also gave the two-handed like tamp down gesture to say, yep, that's what we're here to do. Mm-hmm. But let's not fucking suck each other's dicks just yet. This game is not over. Okay, not over. He was like, we are not gonna fucking over celebrate. There is still a job to do. He did the same thing on his second touchdown. It wasn't until his third, where the clock was dwindling, the score was getting out of reach, where you finally saw Saquon begin to let himself feel the magnitude of this moment. An elite player who has been trapped in the Giants' mediocrity for so long. He's learned the hard way to never take anything for granted. I, for one, love to see it. Saquon's my MVP.
Nice. Okay. I was going to say him celebrating when the guy got his first career touchdown. His backup comes in.
That's cool too, yeah.
And he came all the way over to celebrate with the dude, even though the game was out of reach and all of that stuff. But this guy finally got his first touchdown, and it was in the championship game. And he's out there pumping him up. I was like, okay, Saquon.
No, it really caught my attention when he scored that first touchdown, 60-yard run. Most of us, myself included, would just, I think I could have jumped out of the stadium from excitement. Yeah. But he was like, everybody relax. It's good, but let's fucking...
We got work to do,
we still got work to do. For trash, I'm not really sure where to go here other than like the NFL and its continued refusal to take their officiating issues more seriously.
Yeah.
No matter where you land on the spectrum, this is a very real problem that needs to be addressed for the sake of the game. To be clear, I am not one of those guys who buys that the game is rigged. But that 4th and 1, maybe Josh Allen made it, maybe he didn't. Kind of looked like he got it to me.
I don't think he got it.
Regardless of whether you think he got it or not, that's not even the important part. The fact is that you have one ref comes into the screen indicating that he got it, and then you got the other one coming in saying he didn't get it. And then you have the rules expert up in the booth, Gene Steratore, saying, I think he got it by a third of the football.
Yeah.
What
are we doing?
What do you expect, right? Yeah. The internet is absolutely littered with fucking Chiefs conspiracy bullshit videos this morning. I watched a couple of them, and while I don't agree with them, what do you expect? This is gonna happen.
Yeah.
You can fix this fucking problem. This is a fixable problem, so fucking fix it.
Yeah.
You cannot let things like that happen in any game, and especially not a game of this magnitude.
Yeah.
They have got to deal with this problem.
You are trash!
The NFL is my trash for continuing to ignore this problem.
With that too, yeah. Because it was frustrating to see that, especially seeing the guy, because it looked like the guy coming from the top was way off. I was like, damn, he's way past where he's supposed to be. And then he starts kind of correcting as the other guy's standing there. And it's like, okay, this is dumb. And we just found out a few weeks ago, every ball has a chip in it. Activate it. I don't know. Use it. They're over here grabbing stats for how fast the guys are running and all of this shit.
They can use the chips for the fucking next gen stats shit, but they can't use it to figure out what a fucking first down is. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, for my shit got learned, for all you people who think there's a Chiefs conspiracy, you might want to close your ears because I'm just going to throw some flowers at them. The Chiefs have now won 9 straight playoff games, 17 straight one-score games. Their last postseason defeat came way back in the 2022 AFC Championship game.
Bengals,
Yep. The Bills and Chiefs, last 8 meetings, 4 in the regular season, 4 in the playoffs. Buffalo has won all 4 games in the regular season. Kansas City has won all 4 that mattered the most in the postseason. Chiefs are the first team ever to reach 5 Super Bowls in 6-year span. Wow. First back-to-back champs to return to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And now they are the first team to even have the opportunity to pull off the three-peat. Love them or hate them, the Chiefs are very likely the most complete team in NFL history.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that, man. And it feels like it comes down to Spags. just being unavailable for it. You never hear him being rumored in some coaching position, sights on the coaching position. He's just, I'm going to hang out here, keep doing my thing, stay in my lab, stay ahead of the game, give me these players, and we'll make it work.
Yeah. For spec, I'm going with Jalen Hurts.
Yes. Great one.
I've been out here questioning the Eagles offense. I said they were limping into the NFC Championship game. I said they could get got, but Jalen Hurts said, hold my beer and watch this fucking shit. 20 for 28, 246 passing. Perfect touchdown pass to A.J. Brown. Throw in the 3 rushing touchdowns en route to dropping a 55 burger on the Commanders. And I have no choice but to reconsider the narrative. Yes, the Commanders helped by turning the ball over so many times, but Jalen Hurts still had to execute, and he did so masterfully for the most part. So that's why this week I got to put some spec on this man's name.
Yeah, I'm with it too, man. That's a great one.
Put some respect on my name.
Get some spec from me too, because I was one of the ones that was like, man, this dude don't look right. And then another one, man, it's the poise, the calm. Like these guys that have it, they have it. Even afterwards in the thing, like I told you off mic that I get unsettled when these owners come out afterwards and hold up the trophies and all that stuff. But then when he spoke, it was just like, just chill, calm. Like I'm supposed to be here. It's cool to see.
Early reaction. Who are you? Who do you hope wins the Super Bowl?
I think it'd be cool for the Chiefs to get a third and make history. It'd be cool to witness history like that. I used to live in the Philly area, in South Jersey.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of Philly fans drinking their ice waters. So it's always cool for them. Philly's always been the team that I kind of rooted for on the side whenever my team was out. So I wouldn't mind if they won, but it'll be either way. I'll be happy. These two teams they're fun teams.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is a Philly fan, so I like when they win on his behalf.
I have mixed feelings about the Eagles. I of course love the amount of dogs that exist on this team.
I like their GM.
Their GM is obviously very smart.
Yeah.
Mostly from my hockey fandom, I have a very difficult time allowing myself to root for Pennsylvania-based sports teams.
Okay.
But I think I could make an exception in this case, considering again the dog ratio is high. That being said, Chiefs 3-peat sounds pretty cool too. It doesn't bother me. I understand that people are triggered by that, but I don't care. We do not care.
Exactly. We haven't hit them with that in a while.
We do not care.
Okay, scariest AFC team. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Bills, man. When they put it together, man, it's a scary team. It's hard not to feel bad for Josh Allen, man, when they show that cut of him just sitting there on the sidelines. Even though, I mean, he put the cape on too early and was doing some dumb shit throughout the game.
I agree.
But they still had a chance later. What that throw, it's crazy that the throw got there. He threw that falling backwards on his back foot, and it still made it to Kincaid. It would have been an amazing catch because he also had to change directions and all that stuff to catch it. So the fact that they almost made it shows the level that this dude's playing at, man. Josh Allen is freaking nature, man.
But it's also so heartbreaking because for as long as we've been watching football, they might. I mean, maybe they make it back next year. Maybe they don't.
It's tough.
You know what I mean?
Especially this dude, like they just talked about 119 starts or whatever. Like the way it goes is not supposed to go that way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to wish an injury on anybody, but that's a long time. Mahomes too. Like the fact that he played in the Super Bowl last year with a bum ankle. Like it's tough to go so long without getting hurt. The two of them, Mahomes and Allen, it's crazy that they have such streaks. And the rules are set up to protect them a bit, but Allen don't give a fuck. That he plays like recklessly anyway. So it's rough knowing that they might not get back there, but can only hope. They had an interview with McDermott after the game, and you could just see the pain. It's just like thinking, just like how we're talking, like might not make it back. Like I feel bad for these guys, type of thing. And then we heard the Andy Reid apology. So,
well,
sorry we're good. Sorry we're good, man. We're gonna keep beating y'all.
They can do what the rest of us are going to start doing is just start working on your mock draft, baby.
Yeah. Exactly. And I felt good for Milano. He had a really good showing. But he's one of my favorite defensive players in the league, and he was back, and he was helping his team. But it's the fucking Chiefs.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
It's true.
Damn. On that note, I don't know, man. Feels like we get out of here.
Let's do it.
There's that horn. That means you either heard something fantastic or you're about to hear something spectacular. The former is true. It's been another episode of SveNFL. We'll be back to preview the Super Bowl. Wow. But take care of yourselves, man. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Skiv Mizara.
Wahala. Peace.
Later, y'all.